you get smacked in the face. Neck get the snap and your back get the brace. I don't mind, and I hope you don't mind. If you cross my path, you get caught with a clothesline. Oh man, the ball's fire. Now get the fire marshal in and try to make him get the noise stop. I'm back, black ops in the back. If you really want to get it, take it back to the mat. If you act, then I act combat. I attack hard, target, put it down. I make them back to the mat.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. And it is for the Hardcore Rules First Responders Championship. Introducing first.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the ambassador of the World Wrestling Network, Trevin Adams, coming to you with a very special episode of WWN Proving Ground, our final special episode featuring matchups from the First Responders event in December 2020. And it is the eve, the night before First Responders spring into action, March the 13th, a tribute to Heath Schneider. It's gonna be awesome, and tonight is gonna tee up some serious issues going into March the 13th. Kicking things off with a Hardcore Rules First Responders Championship match. And in a moment, the challenger who's taking his time playing those mind games, Ruby Flyer, will be making it to the ring. I have no clue who this Walt is, but indeed accompanying the challenger Ruby Flyer to the ring. There's definitely a history between Ruby Flyer and Lil Jay, and at this First Responders event, Ruby Flyer is getting the opportunity to take that First Responders Championship. You know what Hardcore Rules mean. Nothing good is going to happen in this ring.
And his opponent.
And this man, the champion, a favorite of the WWN faithful, a man that we have seen before on WWN Proving Ground, haven't seen in action many times. You're going to see a different side of Lil Jay here tonight in this special episode of WWN Proving Ground. Lil Jay billed at 218 pounds. Good God. Dude's about 5 foot, so that is a lot of density there. You see the challenger cutting off the world famous Southern Assassin and Lil Jay on their way to the ring. Walt looking quite menacing. I'm still not sure where this Walt character is from, but perhaps here to try to counteract the Southern Assassin. Hear the reaction for Lil Jay. WWN faithful definitely love them some Lil Jay. This is going to be a very exciting way to kick things off at this very special episode of WWN Proving Ground. Once again, March the 13th. It is the First Responders Spring into Action event at the WWN WrestlePlex. His challenger, Ruby Flyer, of course, taking that championship, that First Responders Championship, and insisting he will be the one to win it here tonight. And as we've talked about, unfortunately, the passing of Vice President of Operations in WWN, Heath Schneider, will be one of the aspects of March the 13th, a bit of a tribute to Heath Schneider, a man who poured his heart and soul into WWN, to the very building you're looking at here, the WWN WrestlePlex. There's a lot of talents that I would thank you to Heath Schneider. And a lot of jaw-jacking. And you see Lil Jay is actually taking it in stride. You want to call me an Oompa Loompa? Fine, no problem. Ruby Flyer obviously not a giant in his own right, but I'm telling you right now, both athletes can move, both athletes can go, and unfortunately, the hardcore nature of the matchup opens itself up to things getting a little ugly as finally underway here. Their first American boyfriend, Billy Grace. The man boots on the ground in the zebra suit as Lil Jay thwarts the initial offensive of Ruby Flyer. And what's Ruby doing? Looking under the ring, and he's got... It's a laptop. Wait, it's not my laptop? Come on! Lil Jay hit right in the head, and I might need a new laptop. I can tell you, Lil Jay is a very hard-headed man, and I mean that complimentary style. Nothing good will come from that. Now, we've got a baking sheet in the ring, and I mentioned this is a hardcore match. You hear Walt saying we're going to make some cookies. It was baking season at the time of this matchup, and Ruby Flyer now has got that pizza pan, and Lil Jay had enough time to recover, stops Ruby Flyer. In fact, is that a chain in the hand of Lil Jay? I think it is. No wonder Ruby Flyer got taken down, and now Lil Jay has a belt in his hand. I believe that a replica championship handed by a member of the WWN faithful, Lil Jay, used as a weapon. That's an addition to that souvenir, if you will. And you see the Southern Assassin telling Jay keep his focus on the challenger, Ruby Flyer, showing the effects of that chain now hit with that pizza pan as well. Obviously no count out in... Oh, look at this. Ooh. Crutch there being used by as a weapon by Lil Jay. Stopped by Ruby Flyer, and I was starting to say there's no count out. Oh, come on, Ruby Flyer just went low. Right in the Lil Jays. I'm going to finally get this out. No count out in Hardcore Rules match. Once again, First Responders Championship on the line here, kicking off this special edition of WWN Proving Ground, featuring matchups from the First Responders event back in December 2020. We are on the eve, though, of the return of the First Responders spring into action March the 13th at the Gulf View Event Center, a.k.a. WWN WrestlePlex. Tickets and info at WWNLive.com. And oh! That kendo stick to the back of Lil Jay, and is Walt handcuffing Lil Jay. Now the Southern Assassin just got hit. He is retired from ring action. Ruby Flyer attacking the Southern Assassin. And Walt just handcuffed Lil Jay to the corner, and nothing good will come from this. Oh, goodness. And that kendo stick to the back of a very prone Lil Jay. He cannot defend himself here. Ruby Flyer again. Just beating on Lil Jay. I think Lil Jay violated some law in Singapore. This caning is out of control here. And over the head is the pizza sheet there. And Southern Assassin seems to have a master key for the handcuffs. Oh, but for the trouble, Southern Assassin hit by Ruby Flyer. And now Ruby Flyer has the chain that Lil Jay used earlier. And he hits the Southern Assassin. Did I mention this man is retired from the sport of professional wrestling? He's here managing Lil Jay, but instead being sucked into the action as the Southern Assassin, while the very menacing Walt looks on. Gotta wonder if he came from Sturgis. Oh, that's what you get. Walt goading Lil Jay, and he's hit with that kendo stick. And now it's Lil Jay coming after Ruby Flyer, who was trying to get a chair. But Flyer now able to get the chair up to stop Lil Jay. And in fact, Flyer taking control again. And another chair to the back there of Lil Jay. Ruby Flyer's got to be pleased with himself right now as he dumps Lil Jay back into the ring. And, oh man, the skewers. Not going to repeat what Ruby Flyer just said there, but obviously Ruby Flyer with some malintent here as he heads into the ring. Lil Jay is prone. You see Ruby Flyer's already bleeding. Jay's crawling to the corner, but really the only solace is rips, and it looks like the Southern Assassin's bleeding as well after being hit in the head, and he's trying to get those handcuffs off as the Southern Assassin from Lil Jay, but all the while Lil Jay is being choked, and remember, hardcore rules. Southern Assassin goading in Ruby Flyer, and with the slap to Flyer, and Flyer hitting Lil Jay over the head. This is getting incredibly violent. Lil Jay fighting off Ruby Flyer, had those skewers. And in fact, skewers are going into the head of Ruby Flyer, and that's what Flyer gets for trying to bring them into the matchup. And Jay scrambling, getting back into the offensive here, and now Ruby Flyer using that baking pan, stopping Lil Jay. And I'll tell you right now, Lil Jay's in a bad way, and ooh, it's like a concerto there. The pizza pan and the baking sheet used as a weapon by Ruby Flyer. And now Flyer has that chair. What does he have in mind? Ooh. Again, steel chair to the back of Lil Jay. And now a second chair has been set up here by Ruby Flyer.
We ain't done yet. We ain't done yet.
You hear Flyer, he's got something he's looking for under the ring. And I think I just saw inside of the ring. I can't tell if those are Legos or what, but Lil Jay just littered the ring with something, while Ruby Flyer's coming in with 2 records. This is vinyl abuse. You can't use these as weapons. Oh, breaking over the head. And I'll tell you right now, those records, jagged. There could be cuts. And this now litters the ring with additional weaponry. Bad things can happen. Oh, and again. Hopefully those were collector's editions. And now, are those ornaments? Ruby Flyer with boxes of ornaments. Gonna have glass all over people if something happens with them as weapons. And Lil Jay now fighting back. Ruby Flyer stopping Flyers. Ill intent, whatever he was setting up there on the chair. I think those were ornaments, but now Lil Jay coming back, firing up. You see Walt now jaw-jacking with Lil Jay. Distracting Lil Jay, but Ruby Flyer still showing the damage that Lil Jay's done to him. But truthfully, Lil Jay's not moving fast after the beating he's taken from Ruby Flyer. This has been a hellacious battle by both men, and now Lil Jay is putting the ornaments on those chairs. I do not like this. Oh no. Lil Jay's got Ruby Flyer and he slams him! And I'm pretty sure those are Lego pieces. Can you imagine how much that hurts? Have you ever stepped on a Lego piece? How about having your entire body thrown on Legos? I can't say Ruby Flyer hasn't earned it, just like Walt perhaps earning the attack, and kendo sticks now from Lil Jay taking down Walt. Very incensed Lil Jay in control of things, heading back into the ring. And you can see the damage that's been done to Ruby Flyer. What's in the bag? No. Are those thumbtacks? Good God. Got some bloodthirsty WWN faithful here. What is this, the Kumite? Lil Jay going for a chokeslam on Ruby Flyer, and those thumbtacks to the back of Ruby Flyer. You see the blood on the face. Can you imagine how many little holes are now in the back of Ruby Flyer? You hear Lil Jay admitting that confidence, saying, I'm the champ. This is my house. The kick to the gut. Lil Jay's got Flyer up. Oh, what does he have in mind? Please, no. Ugh. Attitude adjustment into the chairs, into the ornaments. Everybody's down. Everybody's hurt. Your first American boyfriend Man on the scene, counting this pin. Is this it? It is.
Here's your winner and still First Responders Champion, Lil Jay.
Hardcore rules in full effect. Lil Jay had a fight and then some to retain that First Responders Championship, but successful here. Beating Ruby Flyer. You can see the damage that's been done to Flyer. Southern Assassin now getting in the ring. Letting Ruby Flyer knows what he thinks about him. Walt in the ring checking on Ruby Flyer. This was a battle. I got news for you on March the 13th. How about this? Ruby Flyer gets his rematch, but it's a cage match. Lil Jay will defend his First Responders Championship against Ruby Flyer in a cage. You thought this was nuts. You thought this hardcore match was crazy. What happens when a cage gets introduced on March the 13th? First Responders spring into action. A tribute to Heath Schneider, WWN Vice President of Operations, who again passed away recently. And I'll tell you, March the 13th, Gulfview Event Center, WWN WrestlePlex. It is going to be a hellacious battle in the cage. Lil Jay defends that First Responders Championship again against Ruby Flyer. What a way again to kick things off here with this very special edition of WWN Proving Ground. It's not often that we need a violence warning. That indeed was violence, and you got to think Ruby Flyer to regroup. And on March the 13th, his goals, his ambitions could come true. That could be his championship on March the 13th. It'll be up to Lil Jay to successfully defend that championship in the cage. First Responders spring into action. A tribute to Heath Schneider.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our main event. This contest is scheduled for one fall.
It is indeed our main event here. You're going to see two men who have known each other for a very, very long time face it off. It is this man, Eddie Taurus, facing off against Sideshow. This very special edition of WWN Proving Ground culminates in a main event for the ages. You talk about history in American Combat Wrestling, history in the World Wrestling Network, and history in general throughout the Southeast. It's Eddie Taurus. You've seen him, you've seen Sideshow, whether they've been partners, whether they've been enemies. There is a mutual respect, and I anticipate one heck of a matchup here tonight. Eddie Taurus back in the WWN ring. In phenomenal shape, by the way. But so is the man he is going to face here tonight, Sideshow. A man who has not slowed down, a man who has not missed a beat, and a man who can take you to the limit and then some. A former American Combat Wrestling champion multiple times over. Here are the WWN faithful. Sideshow. Anyway.
You're all going to stand down here.
one Sideshow. There's only one man who can make an entrance like this. Sideshow coming in through the WWN faithful. And I'll tell you, many a man has been intimidated in a defeat before the match-off even begins with the way that Sideshow presents himself. But one man that will not be intimidated is Eddie Torres. As impressive as the entrance of Sideshow is, there's no mind games here that are going to work between these two men. What you're going to see is two athletes, two men who know each other so well, going at it while in the prime of their career. This is a very special treat here in our main event, the culmination of our 3 special episodes of WWN Proving Ground, once again featuring matchups from the First Responders event back in December 2020. And that night was about first responders, just like March the 13th will be a tribute to first responders. Let's send things down to Rafael Abreu for the official introductions.
This contest is a no disqualification. Introducing first, from Newark, New Jersey, weighing in at 240 pounds, he is the authority, Eddie Torres. And his opponent, from the psychedelic underground, weighing in at 220 pounds, he is the 8th deadly sin, Sideshow!
The time for talk is over. The pop-in circumstance is finished. And it is now action here. Indeed, looks like WWN faithful behind Sideshow here, at least at this moment in this matchup. Of course, Eddie Torres calls himself the authority, hence the snide remark from Sideshow. A little bit of a feint there, and that's what you're going to see here is these two men. Oh, we get some Eddie Torres folks in the WWN faithful and offer mutual respect, a show of mutual respect. And so what you're going to see is two guys that know each other incredibly well here in this main event. Locking up who will get the better of this first engagement. It looks like no one. And Jovial's Sideshow is indeed. Eddie Torres has been hitting the gym in phenomenal shape. For Sideshow in phenomenal shape as well. And is it Eddie who's going to get the better of this exchange, perhaps with the wrist control right now is Taurus. Sideshow, though, rolling through and, in fact, kipping up. 8th Deadly Sin instead has that arm. But now it's Eddie Torres rolling through with the counter. Into the armbar. Very impressive. See, Sideshow's having to struggle. And Eddie is really flowing beautifully, but he was, as I was saying that, it's Sideshow now taking back control of things. And if two men knew the fundamentals of the sport better than the other, I don't know if it exists, because these two know it so well. And leverage now could be Eddie Torres' fan. Oh, no, there's a hand to the face there. Sideshow trying to struggle, and in fact, getting behind Torres. Attempting the full Nelson. Torres escaping twice, but Sideshow now snapmare taking down Eddie. Torres, though, gets out of the way of the kick, and in fact, has Sideshow up. Might have been thinking Blue Thunder Bomb so quickly. Now Sideshow going for his finisher. Both men swinging wildly. Both men having answers for the answers. I dare say. Hip toss. And another hip toss. Both men having the answers for everything the other can throw. And Sideshow flying head scissors taking down Torres. But Torres right back. Flying head scissors of his own? You gotta be kidding me. That's one heck of a stalemate here between these two. You hear the respect from the WWN faithful for both of these athletes. And again, dueling chants. You have WWN faithful cheering for Sideshow, WWN faithful chanting for Eddie Torres, and where's Sideshow going? Well, there you go. Sideshow riling up some of the Eddie Torres fans. And to see the WWN faithful here at the WWN WrestlePlex. Things might be flaring up a bit. Ooh, yeah, they are. And not surprisingly, two guys at the peak of their game, even when they respect each other, you know it's just a matter of time as those tempers go and you start seeing red. Next thing you know, you got a forearm to the face. And return fire by Eddie Torres. And another from Sideshow. And again, like I said, these guys know each other so well. They know what the man is going to be trying to do next. Both having counters for the counters, and you saw it right there. And in fact, Gamagiri connects. And what Sideshow got here going to the gut of Eddie Torres. Up and over goes Sideshow. Torres throws the line, but's able to be caught. Beautiful there by Sideshow, continuing on. Going for the submission. And he's trying, he's hitting, you see right here. Thinking crossface, and he's got it on. Sideshow in control. Eddie Torres, center of the ring. And could you imagine submission this quickly in the matchup? But it could happen. Torres has miles to go to get to those ropes, and while he struggles, the hold just gets worse. You can see lights could be starting to go out for Eddie. He's doing everything he can here. Senior official Lee Canfield, eyes on things, and finally Torres able to get away and force Sideshow to break things, and you see Eddie's creating some separation here. Found himself in a predicament early on in this matchup, and again, especially submissions, they can come out of nowhere, things can end fast. And we might be seeing some air Sideshow, but no, caught by Torres, and Uranage into the apron. That's a hellacious way to land for Sideshow. And perhaps all the momentum Sideshow had just got taken away in that one moment there by Eddie Torres. And I'll tell you, Torres, he's been training, he's been desperately wanting to get back into the ring, and he's getting that opportunity to get back into the ring, and what a chop here on Sideshow. And if there was one man to show, to test your mettle against in WWN, it is Sideshow. If you can hang with Sideshow, you can hang with the best. And right now, Eddie Torres is showing that he can go. But Sideshow's showing signs of life of his own as this battle continues outside of the ring. You see the officials giving a lot of leeway. In fact, you're seeing Sideshow taking advantage of that, using that baking sheet as a weapon, and it looks like Eddie might be going for the chair. You notice no count outside of the ring, and battle here. Raging, all hand sanitizer as well. I don't blame Eddie Torres. Eddie in control right now. He's got Sideshow. He's manhandling the 8th deadly sin. Is the authority, Eddie Torres. In fact, Sideshow going head first there into the VIP section. You can see a lot of folks have gotten out of the way. Plunder's still out from our opening matchup. Ooh! Sideshow actually landing on those ornaments outside of the ring. Things haven't entirely been cleaned up from that Hardcore Rules First Responders Championship match. And again, you can see here, officials letting these guys go at it. There's no count right now, and what's Eddie got in mind? Sideshow up to his feet while Eddie's looking for something. I don't blame Sideshow. I don't want to find out what malintent Eddie has, and in fact, Sideshow driving the back of Eddie Torres into the apron. But it didn't phase the authority for long, because Sideshow not only has been caught, but tossed him to the ropes, and goodness! Bad landing for Sideshow. I think he was trying to counter off of those ropes. You saw his feet going after the head of Eddie Torres, but instead did not go the way that was planned for Sideshow. And that's the challenge with a lot of counter maneuvers, especially outside of the ring. So much that is high risk. Well, when the risk reward goes in the direction of pain, this is the situation you find yourself in. And Looks like a chain now around the hand of Eddie Torres. And if it wasn't official, this is obviously no disqualifications at this point. Eddie's got the kendo stick again. All these weapons still left out here since the First Responders Championship match earlier between Ruby Flyer and Lil Jay. Can you imagine when those two get into a cage on March 13th? But right now, Sideshow trying to fight off Eddie Torres, and now Sideshow's got the kendo stick. And the Kumite's demanding one more time, and I think Sideshow's going to deliver. And you see the way the kendo stick went to the ribs of Eddie Torres, the pain writhing through the face, the body of Torres. And Sideshow definitely showing the effects of this matchup, as is Eddie. This thing's already been hellacious between these two. Already mentioned how well they know one another, and Sideshow charging in, connecting against Torres, and now we've seen Sideshow with the combinations, but he's been caught by Eddie. Sideshow's doing what he can to fight off Eddie. But Torres with a heck of a boot. What elevation on that boot. Catching Sideshow. Hope that wasn't a tooth coming out of his mouth. And a big power slam. The Authority catching Sideshow, following it up with a senton. Now going for the pin is Eddie, but a 2 count only. Perhaps the moment that it took Eddie Torres to follow up was just enough for Sideshow to begin to recover. Definitely already a hard-hitting affair between Sideshow and Eddie Torres, and there's no surprise to anybody who's known these athletes, the history they've had. Torres with a forearm. And another catching Sideshow. Sideshow's prone. Wobbly legged. What's Torres got in mind? But Sideshow, oh my goodness! Belly to belly overhead suplex, throwing Eddie Torres into the buckle, and Torres just had all his momentum used against him. Man, has the pendulum swung in this one. Not only is Sideshow back to his feet, but I think he's looking to fly. And he does, and this time Sideshow takes out Torres outside of the ring. Sideshow on a roll here. Eddie Torres taking a beating. There's a reason that Sideshow's called the 8th deadly sin. This man has held the ACW Combat Championship. This man has been in matchups that have involved blood and guts and tears. He's lived to tell the tale. That's the thing. It takes a Mack truck to take out Sideshow, and this could be the end. No, Torres kicking out, and just like I was saying, that Sideshow seems to in many ways be unstoppable. So is Eddie Torres. To defeat Eddie Torres, you got to throw everything you've got and then some, and that's what makes this matchup so even between these two. And what a chop there by Sideshow. Sideshow continuing with that offensive. Eddie's prone in the corner. What does Sideshow have in mind? Muscling up Torres' Sideshow. Impressive. Ooh, what a chop. Now Torres trying to fight off Sideshow, and Sideshow taking the feed out from Torres. Torres is prone, just got hit with that super kick. Those lungs just got blown out coming out of the corner. Sideshow in control. Torres in trouble. Pinfall. 2 count only. Somehow Eddie Torres kicks out. You gotta think Sideshow shocked, and honestly Eddie might be as well. Was it instinct? I'm not sure. It's been a heck of a battle between these two men. You see Sideshow crawling across the ring, trying to get himself up, can't even get up. Eddie as well trying to get himself up, and in fact Sideshow's encouraging Torres to get to his feet. Torres is with those chops, but the knee of Sideshow stopping Eddie Torres. Backstabber. Is this gonna be it? Pinfall. 2 count only. But man, was that close. And you can see this time even Sideshow, absolute disbelief. For Senior Official Lee Canfield. Absolutely counting things down the middle here. Should I say calling it down the middle. Sideshow appears to have something in mind. Can hardly stand, but that never stopped Sideshow before. Should see him at 2 a.m. Ooh, what a boot to the back of the head of Eddie Torres. And another Torres. Taking this beating with Sideshow. Gonna try to throw. Caught by the leg lariat by the big man. Great move by Eddie Torres, and he's continuing on. Hits the Michinoku. Torres is not slowing down. What's he thinking here? Blue Thunderbomb, is this it? No! How close was that? And you can see Torres now the one in complete and utter disbelief here. And I'm going to question, what shape is Sideshow in? Does he even realize he kicked out? Was it instinct? The damage has been done to both of these athletes. You can see the shape that both men are in. The battles here, the scars all coming to the surface here. Torres slapping the face of Sideshow. Now muscling him up. If Eddie was looking to wake up Sideshow, he might have done it, and indeed he did. What a shoulder breaker by Sideshow out of nowhere. The question is, can Sideshow even follow it up? Has he recovered enough? Well, I bet that hurt your knees, Sideshow. He was feeling good enough to call his own commentary. You gotta think Sideshow was something in the tank we did not expect. But no, Eddie Torres not only escapes, released German suplex, taking down Sideshow, but Sideshow's on his feet. How is Sideshow on his feet? Ducking the clothesline, spinning forearm connects from Sideshow. We've seen this combination before. And so has Eddie. What a Uranagi, taking down Sideshow, pinfall! And he got him! And a big win for the Authority. Eddie Torres returning to a WWN ring. Victorious here in our finale of WWN Proving Ground special episodes from the First Responders event. And man, March the 13th, Eddie Torres will face David Mercury in a cage match. You thought this was hellacious. Wait to see that battle. And how about Sideshow? He's going to face Jake Logan on March the 13th. First Responders spring into action, a tribute to Heath Schneider. And that's not all. How about Garrett Bischoff versus August Archois? No DQ. Don't forget Dante Brown will be at ringside. You got Jake Sterling facing Mike Orlando. A tag team gauntlet match. You'll have The Rapture versus Wealth of Wrestling versus Samuel C. and Jason Falcone versus The Foreman and Tyler Baker. But that's not all. Ali Rex will face Sofia Castillo. We've already talked about Jay Guzman versus Jared Diaz versus Sean O'Reilly in a triple threat. And once again, for the First Responders Championship, Lil Jay versus Ruby Flyer in the cage. But let's hear from the Authority, Eddie Torres.
I'll tell you right now, guys, I can't hear in this ear. My nose is busted. I know my ribs are probably beat up. But let me tell you something. I would not want to do anyone better than Sideshow. There's so many who built those letters. Sideshow, David Mercury, myself, Damon Angel. So little of us originals still around. But we still go hard. We still go all out. As you saw, me and one of my best friends and rivals just came in here and beat the living hell out of each other. Come here, Sideshow. Come here. I haven't been here in a while. As some of you know or don't know, this event benefits first responders throughout the field. I am one of the first responders. One of my mentors in the business, Dave Akers, he helped me get in this field. He helped put this together. It was his vision. Sideshow helped organize. All of us came here to support an important benefit for those out on the line dealing with all sorts of elements, including this COVID-19 pandemic. So I want to ask Dave Akers, please come in the ring. That's all right, you got it. Everybody, please give it up for the Gulfview Event Center. Give it up for Heath. Give it for all the wrestlers in the back. Thank you to Sideshow, production, ring crew, everyone that helped put this all together. WWN Live, everything. The workers, but most of all, thank you to all the fans. Thanks for showing up and supporting. We all back there beat the hell out of each other for the benefit of that.
And most of all, we'd like to thank from the bottom of our hearts all the first responders that take care of us every day, that have been working tirelessly through this pandemic, who have been taking care of our friends and family. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We salute you. Thank you.
All right, guys, let you know, I'm going to tell you a little story. Not that long ago, I was walking through the parking lot, and me and Eddie were talking, and I actually offered his son a job. And he's like, I want the job. So he started working. He started out on the medical examiner van picking up dead bodies in Hillsborough County. He has worked his way up. Now he's on an ambulance. This guy has put his ass to work every day. Right there. So, I've been in the wrestling business for 30 years. These two here are my favorites of all times, right here, these two. All right, guys, give it up for Sideshow and Eddie. Thank you guys for coming.
And the mutual respect on display once again. We hope you join us on March the 13th. First responders spring into action. A tribute to Heath Schneider, Gulfview Event Center. Tickets and info at WWNLive.com. Nevertheless, I'm Trevin Adams. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you join us again soon.